Okay, guys, welcome back. We are going to go through an important topic that was asked quite a bit by you guys. So I'm going to make a quick video of it. Title: How to Unfuck Your Life. Look, not as easy as most people think. That's for sure. What we're going to do is I'm basically going to give you a breakdown of how I would do things if I had to start from zero. And to be honest, when I went through this, the main thing I wanted to pick out is the fact that it's not really for someone who's just starting off, right? If you go through and look here, you're kind of you're kind of using a framework that is already used by other people that are doing way better than you, right? But the thing is, this would apply to them because you want to still progress, and you might think to yourself, okay, but I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing really well, but what is there more to do? Like, how can I improve and stuff, right? So it's more of a grounding thing for these type of people. So that's why I'm saying like it does apply to not only like degenerates, who are I know pretty a bit of a loose term, but in the sense that people that are completely at rock bottom, have no idea what they're doing, a bit like this guy, and what we're looking for is basically for them to have a way of starting from scratch and building momentum. That's really what this whole thing is about. Not necessarily dangerous, people that confirm they're on the right path, exactly, and current achievers. So this is just like a kind of a reminder for them, really. What is the difference? Kind of explained this already, but like it's not something brand new for people, right? Like you might think, oh, I'm starting from zero, so what I'm going to be doing is completely different to the guy who's like, I don't know, like Hormozy or can't even think of a better example right now, but these people are really at the top of their game and they're doing absolutely incredible things. They're not necessarily doing something completely different to what we're going to look through, right? It's just they might have adapted it in some way for their things. They're like really niche things, okay, of like, oh, I wake up and I do this X, Y, Z. Yeah, fine. But the actual principle of the system is the same, and that's just the key thing. That's the main thing we want to fix. And yeah, this bit's quite important. Like you can use this aspect to excel in other parts of your life. 'Cause not everyone's good at everything, right? No one's good at everything in some sense. Well, arguably, there's people that are way more all-rounder, which I think I fall more in that category in terms of you put me in any situation, I'm going to be good at it. I'm not going to be incredible at it, but I can get by it, and people will be like, oh yeah, decent. That has its strengths and has its weaknesses as well. I've had my own fair share of challenges because of that. But again, this framework can be used if you want to get much better at like any physical activity, your sports, your athlete, as an athlete, or any type of training you do as an entrepreneur, and you want to really, really excel at that, or you want to better your health, or you want to get your systems and automations a bit more in check in terms of your business. You might want to get better at networking. You might want to get better at dating. I don't know, But it's always good to come back to the basics and be like, okay, I suck at this and I really want to get better. How do I do that, right? So the way I broke it down when I was thinking about it is I broke it down to three main pillars in terms of, I put it as recentering your focus, but you can equally equate it to building your fundamentals for that aspect, right? Building again. These are like basic things that you might think, oh yeah, well this is not going to make a huge difference in life. It is, because if you do these things and you accumulate them, it makes a massive difference, right? Decluttering your space. I do this all the time. Like, this whole thing, I don't know if you've seen this video, but there's a man, he talks about military sergeant, like very high level, and he one of the things he literally drills into his cadets and his team is, I want to see your bed made. And I'm sure they still do this. They want to see how you take care of that, because if you do one thing in the morning, you take care of that one thing, the rest of it just falls into place. It's the same philosophy and ideology in terms of when you go train. If you tick off that training, even if it's a shitty training session, even if you like didn't hit your PRs, didn't hit anything you wanted to, you're still going to progress, because the next day, whilst you might think, oh, I haven't done anything, I haven't really improved in any way. No, you haven't improved in the actual lift. You haven't performed in terms of your strength or the sprint you have to do. But when you come back to it, because you've been putting days, it's going to accumulate and you will succeed from it. because you're putting the effort that you need to do. Just because it's not going to happen right now doesn't mean that it doesn't compound later on. Is the point I'm making, right? So this is the same concept for the decluttering of your space. It's also a mental thing. Like, you won't realize this, but once you have everything nicely put in, like I need everything to be very nice before I can focus. Might be my ADHD side, might not. But it just comes down to, like, if you have less distractions and you have less things to focus on, you're going to focus on the thing in front of you. It's very simple. The create daily schedule. This is kind of important. I put a thing to remember about talking to my to-do list. I might show that a little bit later. I basically do this thing where my to-do list, I put it as workflow, and on workflow I have all the things that I need to do, and I go taking them off, right? And when I go taking them off, I don't actually finish my to-do list ever, because there's like two sides to it. I have my like to-do day today, those things I have to do today, really, really important. But I make it realistic, because imagine you do have a to-do list and you just don't finish it. It kills you every day. Like, your integrity and your confidence, it just starts taking a bit of a hit. So it has to be a realistic to-do list. And then you have like a separate part where you're going to put the stuff that is it's more of a long-term approach. Like, you need to get them done. It's more of a reminder, really. That's how I do it. You have them there. You're gonna do them later on, but you're just like, right now I need to focus on this daily thing, and then I'm going to look at the weekly front, and then I'll look at the monthly front, right? And I kind of categorize in that timeline. And then what you do, suggest a Google Calendar here. What I do is, based on that, then I attack at the planner on the day, right? So you have your blocks. I call them block 1, block 2, block 3, how many other blocks you want to do. Maybe you work in like 2-hour periods. I don't. I work in 10 minutes. So I do 50 minutes on. I think I've got 10-minute breaks. My attention span, even if it's deep work, which is really important, it can just be like a turnaround. Like, I can literally just get up and go outside in the balcony and just look at the view, and I'll come back. Or I'll drink some water, or I'll go to the toilet and I'll come back. The hard thing is sitting back down and getting back into it. Once you do that, it's like perfect. But from my experience, I feel like I do a lot better as opposed to the 2 hours, because after the 2 hours, I feel like subconsciously I've done enough. So I'm not so motivated to do more work. So that's very subjective. It's up to you. You might feel a different way. Yeah, that's really all I have to say for that. Set clear goals. Everyone's going to tell you this, but it falls under the kind of structure I just talked about. Prioritize, answer matrix. Again, you can do this if you want, but the urgent important thing, that's how I do my to-do list. For me, if I have to do it daily, it's already important. So I don't categorize it in terms of like importance of that, because I feel like it gives you a big like stress, a build-up of stress. Like, I don't feel like it's very you're going to get more of an emotional response as opposed to something that's going to be actually productive. So that's why I'd rather do like a workflow where it's a timeline, right? Because if some days I'm going to be able to do way more than other days I'm not going to be able to as much. Some days I'm going to achieve way more, and that's just reality. That's like life. It's the same as when you're going to eat a shitty meal. You're not going to eat a shitty meal. Today I have too many meetings, so I get the best option of eating a meal that's a bit fatty, not great. Like, I don't know. It's like got chicken wings and it's not great, But again, you sometimes have to like look at it as, okay, this is the current situation. What can I do that's going to make it less of a negative for me, right? That doesn't mean like, okay, like here in terms of the priority, that doesn't mean like you should completely blow it, right? Oh, well, if this doesn't work, I can't have my meal plan. I forgot the one I prepped, or I haven't got any groceries. Fuck it, yeah, order takeaway, KFC, whatever. That's just not the solution. Why do we have to go to an extreme, right? But you can get the lesser of the evil, which is like, it's not great, okay, but I do need to eat something, so where can I go? And you get the lesser of the two evils, right? And that's how you should approach it each time. You're not always going to get it perfect. Don't get annoyed because you don't get it perfect. It's just, no one gets better. I don't care what these influencers or any of these people say, or your coach and that. I promise you, they all have their bad days and they all react badly to them. That's called being human, okay? It's just about being realistic about what you can do, right? We're going to talk about second pillar, belief system. Yeah, this could be one of the biggest ones of the three, to be honest. Limiting beliefs, explain what limiting beliefs are. Provide examples. And I'm going to go there. Yeah, this is something I've actually massively had an issue with, because when I didn't, and this is why I'm quite like big on this, because when I was at the beginning of like doing my entrepreneurship, my career there, whenever I couldn't get something done, or it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, more that when it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, it took a big hit for me. And I'd be like, you didn't do well enough, you didn't do something. You know where I got this from mainly? It's all the red pill people that influenced a little bit too much. I think a lot of what they say is crap, to be honest, but that sort of negative talk, whilst you might think it reinforces you into a more solid and like well-rounded individual, it actually doesn't. It slowly chips away at your integrity, your confidence, and you kind of end up being in a vicious circle where you feel like, okay, well, all the things I'm going to do, I'm going to end up not doing well. I'm not good enough to be doing this. I'm not good enough to be doing these challenges. So you really have to be careful with the internal monologue that you have with yourself, because it will bite you in the ass and you can create some incredibly bad habits, right? And that's why you should go and do this instead, which is cultivate. That was a terrible arrow, sorry. Cultivate a growth mindset. So yeah, in the sense that here I've complicated a little bit more than I need to be, but what you should do is in some way, what I mean by a growth mindset is the current outcome that you get, whether it's a positive or a negative. So it's like a failure you get from this, that, the other. For example, I had an issue with one of my colleagues in my team. He was actually going to do something pretty nasty. He was actually looking to basically steal the idea we had for one of the apps we had. And it was a big shock because didn't expect it. And also I have to kind of start one part of the thing that I was doing again, and I had to find a new person. So big shock. I have to stop things. I have to push back on a lot of stuff that I was doing, and didn't like that. But fast forward 20 days, I've now got someone that I fully trust. That is like family. This guy I didn't know. This guy I actually outsourced. And found out that a lot of things the other guy was going to charge me for, I don't need to really pay as much. That person has more integrity. I actually work with a team as opposed to me taking everything on board, and I was getting really stressed. And I was like, why is this not working? And I was trying to understand developers and if they were fucking me over or not. So there is positive in the comment. It's just about perspective, really, is what I'm saying. It's like you need to, you can't always see everything. Everything has to be a win-win-win, because the reality is most things aren't going to be a win. It's about how you flip the failure, if you want to tag it as that, into a positive attribute that you think, okay, well, this didn't work, but now we know that this is what we need to do. Oh, okay, well, I launched a campaign in terms of, I don't know, meta ads, let's say, and you try and do like static ads in terms to see if this is going to work. It fails, fine, but now I know that because I tried a video and I did it with this target audience between the ages of 30, 50, this type of service works really well for them, and I got loads of leads from it. Okay, well, now I know I need to put money into that. I learned from my mistakes. So it's really about switching where you're going to go with it. Very, very important. And the thing is, like, guys, if you do these things, you will have like an amazing mindset that it's just anything that comes at you in life, because life is unpredictable. But what you can do is that if you have something where you can flip the situation in your head into a positive and keep going, you will be invincible, really. Like you just, there's nothing that's going to stop you. If you manage to do that, and that's the biggest challenge of life is the heart, it's the emotions, you know. If you're affected by things and you let them put you down, you could be knocking at the door of success. You ever seen that image of the guy who's like, he's digging for a diamond, and he's literally digging, and he comes right close to it, and he's here, and he stops and he goes back home. He's like, I can't do it. But they were literally right next door. That's basically everyone in terms of life. It's, you don't know when it's going to come. That's the whole point of life. You don't know when the success will come. You don't know when you'll make it. But it's about having this mindset of seeing clearly in a more open perspective of, okay, I didn't do it this time, but I know that I can do it next time. Or I know that this doesn't work, but I know that now that, because this doesn't work, the other option is the other thing I was thinking of doing. So, and you keep going. And eventually it's just a question of time. That's the only thing life has against us, is time. If you keep going with what you're doing and you manage to just keep pushing, eventually you will win, because you're born to win. Like, God wants you to win. So That's why I say it's the most important pillar. If you can get this in check, you're done. You're gonna have all the things you want: money, fame, hearts, love, family. It's all there for the taking. All right. Look, I want to quickly wrap this up, and because I need to go train. Actually, am I late? I am late. Well, oh well. Good practices. Yeah, this is something I'm starting to push a little bit more on my Instagram. So if you want to go check it out, I recommend you do. But yeah, look, healthy practices. Sunlight, morning coffee. You don't see it here, but I'm working with my brother here, and we're doing things together. So speaking to like-minded people, like basically I'm cultivating my environment. I'm making sure that the things that I'm doing are like very important, and I'm doing them with the right people, because anything bad that happens, the rebound I have is much better as opposed to someone like, I told you weren't going to do it, or I told you about this, you shouldn't have worked. The other guy being like, nah bro, you tried it, it's cool, like now we know we need to go forward. This sort of like thing is so like not talked about, and it's just so important because it can change. The thing that changes your mood is the thing that can make you take action or not take action, or give up or not give up, or keep going, or like double down on something, be like, yeah, fuck it, we're going to make it. It's so important, but you don't realize how much you can be influenced. I do want to mention this, and this is super important to me because I have a bit of a temper. How do I make an unhappy face? Yeah, angry. There we go. It's a fucking terrible drawing. And so I do a lot of work. I can get a lot done. But because of the build-up of situations I take care of, there can be a build-up of emotions, and it can be overwhelming, right? So I work really fast, I get stuff done really quickly, but I get equally that backlash of feeling overwhelmed. So the way I counter that is physical action in terms of like, training. I start doing a little bit more martial arts. I get really active. I have to get really active. I get my 10K kilometer steps done in the morning. Make another video of my lifestyle, my habits as I do that. But the big picture is that I need to get a lot done, and I need to get that energy out, and I need to basically have a session. I cannot have a gym session where I'm thinking about work. That is not rest for me. I need to have something where the only thing that this currently works incredibly well for me is wrestling or jiu-jitsu, because I don't want to get my arm snapped off or my leg, my ankle getting flipped or some shit like that. So I need to focus. And I notice this when I'm having I can have like an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour session, 2 double sessions of this, and I do not think of work. I genuinely do not think of anything else apart from the thing that's in front of me, and that's exactly what you need to find. So if that for you is archery, tennis, running does the same thing for me at a lower level, swimming, anything, if that's what helps you, good. I would avoid anything that is to do with the screen. Like, you have to remove that, because the reality is that you're not resting. It's very common, but in a sense, you're not focusing. You are focusing on something. Your brain is working, and so because you're processing the information that's coming from the screen, whether it's like a TV series or I don't know, anime. I watch anime sometimes, and because you're constantly thinking, you're constantly watching, not only your eyes getting tired, which is not good because you're spending a lot of time on screens anyway, you're not restful, okay? And your brain is still working. Whilst if you're performing physical activity, which is why I've got such an emphasis on it, you could even do something like cooking or like stretching, whatever. But because you're completely switching into not staring at screens, not processing information and building up that sort of, it's a different type of stress, you're basically giving yourself a much better break. Screens, I would avoid against it. I have this kind of debate with my brother about video games and stuff. He says it relaxes him much more. I'm not so much about it, but he just works in a completely different way to me. He processes things differently. So it's something you have to see. If I'm being completely honest, something you have to see yourself. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's the way to do it. You also get the benefit of looking shredded, strong, fit, healthy, which I think is a bit more of a bonus than being good at COD. Like, it's up to you. And yeah, well, I might pick one good brain moment this week. What would it be? Sure. Look, guys, I think that summarizes a lot of what we've just talked about, but it's that. It's like, how would you turn your life around? It's these sort of things, you know. What you've noticed that everything we've just gone through is a structure, right? We've gone through a structure where we've decided, okay, we're going to do these three pillars. We're going to focus on all of them, right? The organization, the self-belief, the good systems that we're going to put in place, and like, it's not complicated stuff, right? Like inside you knew what it was, right? Like this sort of stuff that I'm talking about. These three things that we've worked on, you guys have. It's not like you haven't heard of it. The issue is that people, what they intend to do, and a lot of people in the industry will do this, whether they're an online coach, health coach, life coach, someone you look up to, they want to overcomplicate things because they want to think that you need someone to be there. You need someone to give you support, right? But once you learn how to do this stuff, what you need is just a right-hand man. Just like in a company, you need someone to take care of specific things, right? The compliance, you've got the administration, HR, sales, depends on what type of company you're setting up. But you should be able to, at the very minimum, have the knowledge base and understand, right? So if you're going to do any type of coaching and do anything, that's what you should get out of it. You pay the retainer for the month, 2 months, maybe 3 months. And then once you understand, you might want to have someone who's going to accompany you in terms of making sure you're on the right track, because you're human. Like, you do need guidance. It's completely normal, right? But you should understand what you're doing. You shouldn't need someone to tell you how this all works. Like, this is what I've just given you. It's going to be on YouTube for free. Like, that's how you do things, okay? Now, how do you do better for yourself than that? That's another story. But that's what I'd focus on. I like this thing I put. It's a game of ticking off boxes. Get the list finished every day and roll with the momentum. That's how I see it. That's how I see my workflow. As I explained, I get things done every day. And look, if I do that once a day for a week, a month, can you imagine what I'm stacking in terms of wins? Like, you can't beat someone like me when you have no structure. If I'm doing stuff every day and I know I'm bettering it, I can set up like a new business within a few months, and I have a really good direction where it's going. And you, who are still scrambling for the ideas and stuff, and you don't have something where you're like, okay, every day I've achieved this, you cannot compete. You're not going to be able to compete. So it's very, very important you follow a structure. Use this. Doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but use it and start building onto it. And that's when you're going to get it, because it's just a game of stacking wins. It really is. And yeah, look, if you guys like this video, you want me to do something more specific, I just had a couple of people be like, bro, I'm really down. I don't know where to go with this. I'm lost in direction. I thought it was quite useful. It's very general. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And if there's any things you want me to specifically talk about, shoot me a message. Comment down. Let me know. Even shoot me on Instagram. I reply to everyone on Instagram. So yeah.